I mean, I guess I'll share a funny story about that because there was a day in the not so recent past that I was supposed to go on a date with this girl, and there was a project that I was part of the team that had an absolutely ridiculous name. That's not PG-13 at all, but it was funny. It was a funny narrative, and the team was amazing. And so she's in real life. I own a contracting style business where we do home improvements and stuff. And so she knew I did that. So anyway, she wants me to come over and watch a movie with her. And I'm having this conversation. I'm like, look, I do some stuff that you don't really know about that makes money. And I've really got to be involved in that. And she's like, what do you do? And she keeps asking these questions. And I believe in authenticity and honesty and is important in all aspects of life. And so I'm sort of tiptoeing around it. And she's like, I really wanted to see you. I really wanted to watch a movie. I'm like, I understand. I got to do something tonight that's going to, make some money for an investment that I'm involved in. She's like, what kind of investment? I said, oh, it's a cryptocurrency project. She's like, oh, God. So you're one of those Bitcoin guys. And I'm like, well, no, it's not exactly Bitcoin. She's like, well, what's it called? And I'm sitting there. I'm like, do I tell this person, this woman, this absolutely ridiculous, absurd name of a token or not? And it was sort of like this weird thing weighing on my mind as we're texting back and forth. And I was like, I don't even know how the fuck to explain this because this chick is going to think I'm insane. She's going to think I'm ridiculous. Luckily, it wasn't really serious anyway. So I just went ahead and sort of ignored that last question and did not see her again. But it's funny because, when you're talking to a normal human being and you're deep in the meme coin trenches and they're like, what are your investments? What are you making money on? And you can't tell them, Obama, boner pill, monkey shit, Inu, because then they think you're fucking insane. But it's funny to us because we'll talk about projects that have the most ridiculous names ever, and it's just normal. So it's definitely interesting having that interaction with the normal people, especially because I still think that most people think that the meme coin space is just absolutely ridiculous. So it is definitely it's definitely an experience having those conversations. There have been several people that I've onboarded that have made money and that have enjoyed it. And so, I do feel like I feel like you can't really say it as much to a stranger on the street. Although I have had that happen. I dressed up in a T-shirt that said, asked me about crypto and went to a couple Trump rallies here and we talked about our project. It was really cool. And we onboarded some of them, obviously, because, Trump and JD Vance and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK are all crypto maxis. However, when you're talking to your friends and family and normal people, and just last night I was having a conversation with my sister and she's like, no, Bitcoin's a scam. You need to be invested in the stock market or like something that is real and tied to the US dollar. And I'm sitting there and in my mind, the US dollar is the biggest financial scam of all time. You've got a government that continues to print money whenever they want to versus Bitcoin, which is an asset that has a finite amount backing it, to where there's never going to be another Bitcoin after they're all mined. And to me, that's a much safer investment than putting stuff in something dollar backed to where the government's just going to print several more $1 trillion next year. But yeah, so the conversations are interesting. The crypto it's twofold. So there's the crypto conversation, which some people still think we're weirdos for being involved in crypto. And then the second part, to sort of tie into your question, is the meme coin part, because there's the heavy duty Bitcoiners and Ethereum people who just, they long and short the chart of Bitcoin or Ethereum or the stables. And then there's the meme coin, which is sort of seen as this crazy fringe, like the Wild West, where people all act out and all the tokens sound funny. And that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, again, I got to stop rambling, but I feel like I brought it home there at the end to answer your question. But it's just different, man. I mean, when you're talking to people who aren't in the trenches and haven't been in this space, and trying to explain that something called gas station boner pill Inu is a legitimate investment, that has a strong team behind it and a community that keeps promoting it and some influencers behind it. And again, I'm not invested in gas station boner pill Inu, but I'm just saying a funny name. And then you've got, you're sort of trying to explain it, and it's fun. A lot of times there's laughter. A lot of times people look at you like you're crazy. So I do think there has to be a degree of trust built up there before you mention it. With my project, which is called 1776 on Solana, it's a little easier because we talk about the message and the narrative, and it's very, all the art and stuff is very patriotic. So for someone who is, you know, a proud American, it's easy for them to see that as a legitimate asset. Whereas some of the other meme coins, it's a little tougher, but it's still, I mean, it leads to some very, very, very interesting conversations.